We'll set up an AWS Lambda function from scratch using the AWS Console and the AWS CLI. Target runtime is Node.js 24. The runtime identifier is Node.js 24 by .x, which went generally available on November 25, 2025. Everything we do works cross-platform from Mac, Linux, or Windows because we're driving AWS through the browser and the CLI. This assumes you already have an AWS account and the AWS CLI v2 installed and configured with AWS Configure. We'll also flag the Node.js 20.x deprecation timeline so you don't pick a dead runtime. First, prerequisites. You need 5 things in place. 1. An active AWS account with billing enabled. The Lambda free tier gives you 1 million requests and 400,000 GB seconds per month, perpetually, so this tutorial costs $0. 2. AWS CLI version 2. Verify with AWS version. You should see AWS CLI 2.x printed. 3. Credentials configured. Run AWS STS get caller identity, and you should see your account ID and user ARN come back as JSON. 4. An IAM user or role with permission to create Lambda functions and IAM roles. The managed policy, AWS Lambda Core Full Access plus IAM Full Access, is enough for this tutorial, though tighter scoping is recommended in production. 5. A modern browser for the AWS Console. With those in place, here's step 1. Step 1. Create the execution role. Every Lambda function runs under an IAM role. We'll create the minimum role, trust policy for Lambda, and the managed policy, AWS Lambda, basic execution role for CloudWatch logs, write access. In your terminal, save this trust policy to a file called trustpolicy.json. The content is a single statement allowing lambda.amazonoz.com to assume the role with action sts assume role. Then run AWS create role, role name lambda hello role, assume role policy document file, trustpolicy.json. On success, you'll see a JSON response containing the role ARN, which looks like arn.allows.im, account ID role lambda hello role. Copy that ARN. You'll need it in step 3. Then attach the logging policy with AWS attach role policy, role name lambda hello role, policy arn.dos dos to policies service role AWS Lambda basic execution role. This command returns nothing on success, which is normal. The common gotcha, IAM is eventually consistent, so wait about 10 seconds before using the role, or step 3 may fail with invalid parameter value exception. The trust policy says only the Lambda service can use this role. The attached managed policy, AWS Lambda basic execution role, grants 3 CloudWatch logs permissions: logs, create log group, logs, create log stream, and logs, to put log events. Without those, your function would still run, but you'd see nothing in CloudWatch and debugging would be impossible. If you prefer the console route, open the IAM console, choose roles, create role, select AWS service as the trusted entity, choose Lambda as the use case, attach AWS Lambda basic execution role, name it Lambda hello role, and click create role. Same result, more clicks. Either way, you now have a role, ARN, hold on to it, Yun keys. Step 2. Write the function code and package it. Create a folder called Lambda Hello and inside it a single file named index.mjs. The MJS extension matters because Node.js 24 on Lambda treats it as an ES module. The handler is an async function, and this is important. Node.js 24 removed callback-based handlers entirely. Only async await works now. The code is 6 lines. Export const handler JAWS async event DAO return sync status code 200 body JSON.stringify message hello from Lambda input event combinized. That's the whole function. Now zip it on Mac or Linux. Run zip function.zip index.mjs. On Windows PowerShell, run compress archive path index .gs destination path function.zp. You should see a function.zip file about 300 bytes in size. The common gotcha: do not zip the parent folder. Zip the file directly, or Lambda will look for lambda hello index.handler and fail with runtime. Handler not found. The default handler value Lambda assigns is index.handler. That string means, in the file, index, without extension, call the exported member named handler. Because we named the file index.mjs as an exported handler, the default works without any changes. If you rename the file to app.mjs, you would need to set the handler to app.handler in step 3. This catches people every single time. Match the file name to the handler string, or override the handler string to match the file name. Either way works. Inconsistency is what breaks it. Step 3. Create the Lambda function and upload the code. From the same folder, run this command. AWS Lambda create function. Function, name Lambda hello, runtime. Node.js 24.x, architecture ARM64, role, and AWS IAM. Account, ID.role, Lambda, hello role, handler index, handler, zip file b, dar function.zippy. Replace account ID with your 12-digit AWS account ID, the one returned earlier by AWS STS getCaller identity. We're choosing ARM64 deliberately. ARM64 runs on AWS Graviton 2 and is priced at 0.0000133334 per GB second, roughly 20% cheaper than x86, with equivalent or better performance for most workloads. On success, you get a JSON response with function ARN, runtime, Node.js 24 on XEI, state, pending, then within 3 to 8 seconds, the state transitions to active. Memory defaults to 128 MB, timeout defaults to 3 seconds. Both fine for now. The common gotcha. The file.da a prefix is required, not file. Yisen, the B means binary, and zip files are binary. Use file and you'll get a malformed zip error. If the console is your preferred path, open the AWS Lambda console, click Create Function, and choose Author from scratch. Enter the function name, Lambda Hello. For runtime, select Node.js 24.x from the dropdown. For architecture, select ARM64. Under Permissions, expand Change Default Execution Role, choose Use an existing role, and select Lambda Hello role. Click Create Function. Lambda will drop you into the code editor with a starter index.mjs already populated. Replace its contents with the 6-line handler from step 2, click Deploy, and wait for the green Successfully Updated banner. Same outcome as the CLI. The function exists. Verification. Let's prove the function works. Run AWS Lambda invoke, function name Lambda hello, payload, name, world, on CLI binary format, raw and base 64 out response.json. This sends a synchronous invocation with a tiny JSON payload. On success, the terminal prints status code 200 dots and executed version latest. Then run cat response.json. You should see exactly this. Status code 200 body yabernya messagem hello from lambdas sharnes input has names worlds heaser. To see the logs, run oz logs tail salas lambda lambda hello, follow. CloudWatch will show start requested, end requested, and report requested lines, including the duration in milliseconds and build memory. If you saw that output, you're set. Optional, give the function a public HTTPS URL. Run AWS Lambda create function URL config gazin function name Lambda hello, auth type none. This returns a function URL ending in .lambda URL.region.on.aws. Then grant public invoke permission with AWS Lambda add permission, function name Lambda hello, statement ID function URL allo public access, action Lambda, invoke function URL, principal, is, function yamda URL, he auth type none. Open the URL in your browser. You should see the JSON body with Yawa's message, hello from Lambda. That's a fully working serverless HTTPS endpoint, no API gateway, no load balancer. A note, shortloth type none, makes the URL public to the entire internet. For anything beyond a demo, use AWS IAM and sign requests or front it with API gateway and a custom authorizer. Quick S3 trigger walkthrough, since that's the most common Lambda use case. In the Lambda console, open Lambda hello, click add trigger, choose S3. Pick an existing bucket, or create one first with AWS S3 MB-S3 stbast my Lambda trigger bucket 2026 link. Set event type to all object create events, accept the recursive invocation acknowledgement and click add. Lambda automatically adds an s3.amazonoz.com resource policy, granting the bucket permission to invoke your function. Test it by uploading a file, AWS s3cp test.txt s3.x my lambda, trigger bucket 2026. Within 1 to 3 seconds, CloudWatch logs will show a new invocation with the S3 event payload. The bucket name, object key, and event time are all in event records. S3s. If your bucket and your Lambda are in different regions, the trigger silently fails. Keep them in the same region. Door. 3 failure modes you'll hit. First, runtime. Handler not found. Index.handler is undefined or not exported. Fix. Your file isn't named index.mjson, or you forgot the export keyword on the handler, or you zip the parent folder instead of the file. Rezip with zip function.zipindex.mjs and update the function with AWS Lambda. Update function code, homo function name. Lambda, hello, zip file hots function.zip. Second, invalid parameter value. Exception. The role defined for the function cannot be assumed by Lambda. Fix IAM eventual consistency. Wait 10 seconds and retry, or check that the trust policy lists lambda.amazonoz.com as the principal. Third, access denied exception when invoking. Fix. Your CLI credentials don't have Lambda invoke function. Attach AWS Lambda, full access to your IAM user, or scope it tighter for production. 2 final notes before you go. If you're on Node.js 20.x, migrate now. Phase 1 deprecation hit on April 30, 2026. Security patches stopped. Function creation gets blocked on August 31, 2026, and updates get blocked on September 30, 2026. Move to Node.js 22.x or Node.js 24.x. On pricing, the perpetual free tier covers 1 million requests and 400,000 JB seconds per month, forever. After that, requests are 20 cents per million, and on ARM64 you pay $0.000133334 per GB second for a 128 megadollar function running 100 milliseconds. That's a fraction of a cent per thousand invocations. Next tutorial covers wiring API gateway to Lambda with a custom authorizer. Full docs at docs.aws.amazon.com/lambda